So I hope you were able to do that little challenge where I asked you to make it so that when either of these two buttons are clicked, this one, for instance, would open a client, an email client on your machine and pre-populate all of the fields. And then you would be able to send an email to and then you would be able to send an email. Okay. If not, I will show you, no worry. And also, I hope you were able to make it so that when either of these buttons are clicked, they would take the user to the respective websites or social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, let's go ahead and implement that. Let's start with the social media. Well, in order for us to make it so that when each of these buttons, let's go to where our buttons are, we'll have to go to row buttons or button rows. Let's say Command P to search for a certain file, Command P, that is. And then let's go to button row. So our button row, this is where we have our buttons, and we have the onPressed function we need to pass here. So in order for us to launch a URL, a website on Click Flutter, we need a package, a new dependency. To do so, there's two ways, obviously. I'm going to show you what we need to do. We can say pub dev, like this. Just click pub dev, and this site, this is what you get. To make this a little bigger so you can see. And let's go to package. Okay, so packages, there's a lot of different packages, and what you can do actually, let's go back. If you just go to the main one, you can search. What you need is what we call URL launcher. Hit enter, and there it is. This is a Flutter plugin for launching a URL. Okay, the plugin, dependency, a package, doesn't really matter, same thing. All right, so this is what we need. And if you click on one of these, it's going to tell you exactly how to use it and change log and example. So how to implement it. Here is an example. Okay, so the user here says to use this plugin, add URL launcher as a dependency in your pub/spec.yaml. And then at the bottom here, they show you exactly how to use that. So you will have a URL that you create at the top, for instance, flutter.dev, and then you create async method and pass that along like this using the launch method and pass the URL. All right, very well. So let's go ahead and do how we do it, which is the simplified way of adding dependencies or adding plugins. You should know by now, say Control Shift or Command Shift on Mac, P, and then we're going to start typing pub spec like this, right? And hit enter. Now you see something changed. It says now we can type the name of the plugin we want. So it's going to be URL launcher, hit enter. And they're going to give you a few options if there's more than one. Very convenient. So we want the first one. Just click that and look at this. It's going to say PubSpec Assist. It's updating the URL launcher and it's running the pub get. All of that automatically. We don't have to do anything. How convenient is that? It takes a few seconds and voila, all is good. And you can see here says Flutter pub get was run in portfolio exit code 0, which means everything went well. And if we actually go Command P and go to our YAML, pubspec.yaml, like that, hit enter, we should see that part of our dependencies, we have our URL launcher. Okay, very good. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to, for instance, for this Facebook icon to use the launcher. How do we do that? Well, we can do a few things. We can go back down here to an example and we can copy all of this. And I'm going to create a function right there. And it says here can launch. And if there's some issues, okay, I'm going to say command period. We're going to import the actual library, hit enter there. Very good. So there's no URL. Of course, we have no URL. That is fine. What I can do also to make this, because we're going to use in a few places, I'm going to actually pass a string, say string URL like this. And the other thing I want to do is, let's say I want to change all these URL instances to this URL, right? Because this is private, but we don't want that in this case. You can highlight the one occurrence, the one variable there, and then say Command D, which then I can see highlights all of the similar URLs or similar variable names there. So you can change that. So in this case here, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. So now it's all going to be URL, and I can just go like that. Okay. Very good. So now I can use this launcher here and what I want and pass the actual URL and it should be good. So let's come up here. I'm going to say launcher or launch and pass the URL. For Facebook, it's going to be HTTPS facebook.com like that. I'm just going to copy this and do the same. This one is going to be Instagram. So let's say Instagram. And come up here and do the same. Instead of Instagram, this is going to be Twitter. Now, because I only have one line here in this function body, I don't need it to have these two curly braces. I could simplify this by using arrow function. So in this case here, I can just go ahead and get rid of all of these like that. It's going to complain and just put something like that, an arrow like that. And I'm going to get rid of this, say save, and voila, you have it. So I'm going to do the same thing to others, because it's just one liner, so that simplifies our life. Just go ahead and save this again, and let's go back to our project. Click on Facebook. All right, so looks like I have an issue, and this binding.dart is showing there. Well, the other thing I can do just to see what the problem is, I can step in. You can see this is debugging, so I can step into this line, so kind of going through the process of debugging, see where the problem is. So if I click on this one, step in, and you will see an arrow at the bottom here. Let's see what's going on. It says here, missing plugin exception, no implementation found for method launch on channel plugins Flutter. So what it's saying here is that it's not finding the actual plugin. But you may say, well, we did add it, didn't we? So let's go again, Command P. Let's go to a pub spec. And yes, we do have our URL launcher. But why are we having this issue? Well, it turns out sometimes when you add a new package or a new plugin, you most likely will need to restart your project. So I'm going to go ahead and terminate the debug session and rerun all over again. So I'm going to get rid of all of these guys. In this case, say F5. There we go again. Let's see if this works. Click, and voila, you can see it goes to Facebook. Let's see this one, and this should go to Instagram. Very good. And last but not least, and we have Twitter. All right, it's working. Okay, so just remember to make sure to restart or kill the debug session that you have by clicking this stop. It will kill it and then do it again, rerun again every time you add a new dependency or a new plugin to your pubspec.yaml. Okay, that way you don't get that exception that says that they can't find that plugin. All right, very good. So we are done with checklist number 1. So the next thing we need to do is to get this drop me a line to work. So we click again, either one of these. We want to make sure that the email client on your machine is opened up, and then you're able to send an email, or at least able to populate all the fields as if you were to be able to send an email. Okay, so we're going to do that in the next video.